Most Caribbean experts agree the mangrove is the safest place for a boat to be in a tropical storm other than on land. But actual details on the process are scarce. So with Tropical Storm Chantal approaching, here is the first time we have tied up in a mangrove and how we did it.
Well, the plan is we're going to try to get up into this mangrove area here. This is probably the second better part in the harbor and a lot less crowded for some reason. But it should be good for this storm, I think. We've never done this before. The plan is to drop the anchor, but not use it on the bow. We're going to end up with the anchor on the stern. So we got to try to tug it in backwards, then sort of spin the boat and tie it right into the mangrove, which we've never done that either. You find the biggest mangrove roots you can and just put a whole pile of lines and tie them like a whole spider's web. So it'll be a first, and I'm sure it would be better with more than 2 people, but we'll give it a shot.
With 36 hours to go, there are already many boats in here. In most busy Caribbean harbors, you'll want to give yourself plenty of time to find a good spot.
We choose a corner of the harbor that will be best protected from the winds and waves. Winds are predicted to come from the northeast as the storm approaches, then build and swing to the southeast. This will be our worst point blowing on our beam. Then as the eye of the storm passes south of us, the winds will swing to the southwest directly on our stern. We have 24 hours until the storm hits and must figure out how to make our lines fast to the shore. So now we're supposed to take the lines and tie them into the mangroves. See how that works.
Mangroves are a very important ecosystem in the tropics, protecting coastline from erosion and providing a habitat for numerous species that can hide in the tangle of roots. The main plant here in the deeper water is the red mangrove, able to thrive in the salty water that would kill almost all other plants. We need to tie more lines ashore, and it looks like it will be just about impossible to get near enough to tie the lines on. But once through the outer branches, the mangrove is a shaded and beautiful place.
Note the small mangrove roots and the bigger central trunks. I tie a dock line to a big strong mangrove using a couple of loops to spread the load along the trunk and reduce chafe. But I want to spread the load further, so I connect 2 smaller lines from the first big one onto other mangroves, so the strain would be spread out to 3 different mangrove trunks. We will have 8 lines attaching to the mangrove, coming back to 3 heavy dock lines and back to the bow.
With the first lines made fast to the mangroves, we can pull the bow around to maneuver us into our planned position. Fortress anchor ready to go. We have another one of those. So I think an anchor out there, another one out there. The idea is to go into the mangroves. We'll make a real spider's web of all the lines tying off so that we distribute the load as much as we can through the whole system of mangroves. Tie it onto our dock lines, 3 lines astern, good to go. So I'm going to try to go over to there and pick up another one of these big branches. I'll tie this on and tie that back onto the line I already have. Okay.
Mangrove roots also provide a soft landing if the boat should get pushed ashore in the storm.
It's amazing how you can stand on these root systems. They're really strong. And we're not even going to be tying onto any of these little guys. So this divides the stress between this big root. So I'll do that a couple more times. That should be good. The goal is to have something like 8 or 10, I think, of these attachment points. That ought to give us enough so that when the wind is coming this way, it'll be divided and spread out over all this whole cool mangrove system. It's a whole neat little world down here. Okay, I'm still working anchor number 2. We've got a couple of these fortresses. They're excellent in mud. We've been here 2 hours. We're playing around the mangroves. This guy's showing how it's really done. He's just got here single-handed. He's got both anchors set and he's just backing up to tie on the mangroves. He's got a little dog on board. The dog's asleep. It's just a single-handed and he's way ahead of us.
Paul speaks too soon. This boat will break loose in the strong winds to come, possibly due to such a casual approach.
The water here is about 3 meters deep, so I need to be more than 40 meters away to get the right scope. After I drop the anchor over, I back towards the boat to keep the line away from the propeller. I pull hard on the line to set the anchor into the mud on the bottom. Okay, it is about 10 o'clock at night. We have done everything we can do. It is a totally beautiful night with perfect stars and a light breeze, and thank goodness no mosquitoes. And tomorrow morning, Tropical Storm Chantal comes right over top of Martinique, is what it looks like from the latest forecast.
Up early the next morning, we have the calm before the storm. With the storm center less than 100 miles away, the forecast still has Tropical Storm Chantal heading directly for us. There are now 22 boats tied up in our little mangrove bay, and we hope we are ready.
Okay, I think we got everything. I hope we have as much as we could do anyway. We've got 1, 2, 3 good anchors out. We have something like 9 lines tied onto 9 mangroves, 3 lines back onto the bow. We got up this morning and we got the Genoa down, so we just leave the jib up. We didn't have time and the wind has started already.
We tie off the Genoa, so it's less likely to unfurl in the strong winds to come.
The wind starts as forecast, coming towards our bows, so we are well protected by the mangroves. But soon the wind shifts and builds from the southeast, pushing sideways on our beam. The boats in the other end of the anchorage are in the strongest gusts.
Gusting sort of 45 to 50, and there were 3 boats anchored in here, and 2 of them have just dragged, and actually both have hit another catamaran, and then the one has just dragged right out of the anchors. I don't know what's happened to him. And then the other cat that came in has dragged into the mangrove. So our anchors are holding right now, but I don't know how much more gusts it can really take on the side like this, because this is our worst position to have the wind straight on the side. Well, taking a chance in the lull, or to take a look and see how my soup's come out. Made a lentil potato soup. Delicious. Just what you need in the middle of a tropical storm. Okay, it's gusting up to 50, and it's starting to come around to the south now, so that means the eye is just south of us. It's supposed to go just really between here and St. Lucia, which is about 20 miles away. And so it's just the height of it. I'm going to go out and see how we're doing as we pull up on these stern lines. Oh!
What are you wearing?
This actually kind of works. Otherwise, you really can't see into it. It's like pins and needles. Same with the shirt. With your arms, you're feeling pins and needles, but with the shirt on, it helps a lot. We have got all our mangrove lines look fine. Our anchors, I don't think we've moved at all. But the other boats, 2 boats have drifted out altogether, and the one other catamaran has just dragged straight into the mangroves. These are all the boats that were basically free anchored, whereas all the boats that are tied up in the mangroves really haven't really moved. Our lines have held, and we have survived this tropical storm. But if it were a full-fledged hurricane approaching, I think we would head south to get out of its way. Thanks for watching this Distant Shores how-to segment. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, please give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. Are you interested in the cruising lifestyle? Are you planning to sail away on a cruising adventure? Or researching cruising areas and destinations? Distant Shores is a television series about the cruising life, with lots of tips for sailors planning to sail away. This is Oswego, New York. We are entering the Erie Canal system, and this will take us all the way from Lake Ontario to the Hudson River, which gets us to New York City. Plus destination information to help you make your cruising plans. Yeah, I can stand on the bottom. We've been filming Distant Shores for nearly 15 years, and know the fun and challenges of the cruising life. We've made Distant Shores with you in mind. We include plenty of cruising tips in this travel series, as well as lifestyle segments and hints for sailors heading to exotic destinations. Encouragement for you and your crew to get out cruising. Destinations include the Intracoastal Waterway, the Bahamas, Caribbean, the Mediterranean, Scandinavia, transatlantic passage making, the French canals, and more.